Hey, Planeswalkers, Mythras here. Hope you're doing well and staying safe. Today, we got an action-packed day with Boros Aggro for you. Now, I appreciate you taking the time to check this video out. We got a lot coming your way. We're going to do some deck tech where we'll take a look at the main board. We'll talk about the sideboard. We'll pull those both together for you in a how-to guide for best of 3. And then we're going to go play some competitive Magic in both best of 1 and best of 3 today. Now, this Boros Aggro deck is a Platinum to Mythic 6+ wins deck that I'm excited to go check out. And with that said, before we go take a look at the deck and go play some matches, I just want to say thank you as always. I truly appreciate your support. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel down over there as I'm trying to hit 10,000 subs this year. And additionally, like the video if you like the deck, if you learn something new, or if you just like it. So let's go ahead and check out this Boros Aggro deck today because I'm very pumped to go play this. And additionally, it's something we haven't played yet, so at least for Zendikars Rising, my friends. Now, before we get started here, as always, Planeswalkers, the deck list is available for you down below in the description. So is the link to the deck, and while you're down there, I do have my profile on Untapped available, so you guys can track the journey. And if you want to stay around and check out the deck tech, you can do that. Or while you're down there, you guys can absolutely move around to the portion of the video that you like with the timestamps. And I do got the companion app and other ways for you guys to support the channel down below. All right, so here's what we got going on with Boros Aggro today. Boros is the both the white and the red, or the plains and the mountains colors on the color wheel here for Magic, giving us Boros from Ravnica. It's a guild, and then additionally it's an aggro deck because everything is happening here under the 3-drop slot primarily, and anything above that is going to be the linchpin killer for this deck. So very excited about that. The deck excels in the early game. It's about getting under your opponents and hitting hard as fast as you can. And we got a lot of great things that I'm looking forward to playing in this deck today. So we'll quickly do a flyby here so we can look at the deck in its totality, and then we're going to come back and we're going to check out each of these pieces individually here today as well. And then I also like to give a little feedback about the decks and some things that I would consider playing or changing up once in a while. So first off, we got Archpriest of Iona here. It's a creature human cleric. Its power is equal to the number of creatures in our party. So before I go on and talk more about that piece, we unfortunately don't have wizards in this group, so it will get up to a 3/2, so that's something to keep in mind. Now, at the beginning of combat on your turn, if you have a full party, target creature gains +1/+1 and gains flying until end of turn. But like I said, we don't have that wizard, so that's not going to happen. But a 3/2 at a 1-drop slot isn't bad, my friends. Then we got Fireblade Charger here. This is a goblin warrior. As long as it's equipped, it also has haste. And then when it dies, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. So very, very important there. Then we got Luminarch Aspirant, which also plays well with Fireblade and everything else in this deck. It's a human cleric. At the beginning of combat on our turn, we get to put a +1/+1 counter on target creature we control. We also have Seasoned Hallowblade here. It's a human warrior. We can discard a card, tap this creature. It gains indestructible till end of turn, which is pretty powerful. Then we have Kerrigan the Intimidator. Here, this human warrior has cowards can't block warriors, and we can pay 1 and we can have 3 different things happen. You can actually pay it multiple times, so it gets +1/+1 till end of turn. Target creature becomes a coward till end of turn, and target warrior also gains trample until end of turn. And it's a choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn, and that's why you can multiply and do that 3 times. Then we have Robber of the Rich. This creature is a human archer rogue. Reach and haste. People always forget about the reach, so don't ever hesitate to keep this guy held up to block. It has certainly saved me many games, many a times. Also works well against other good old rogue decks, and you guys know what I'm talking about here. So whenever Robber the Rich attacks, if defending player has more cards in hand than you exile a top card of their library. During any turn you attack with a rogue, so it doesn't have to be this rogue, you may cast that card and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast that spell. So pretty powerful there. Then we got Maul of the Skyclaves. I absolutely love this card. Super fun. I love running it in my mono white humans deck. And what this is when it enters the battlefield, we get to attach it to a target creature right away that we control. It is an artifact equipment, and then equipped creature gets +2/+2, has flying and first strike, so it's a great over-the-top card and also a nice helpful kind of finisher at that 3-drop slot. And then we can always equip it again for 4. We got one of my favorite cards, Skyclave Apparition, here again from the Plains, probably in my opinion one of the best ones coming out of Zendikar Rising. When this creature enters the battlefield, we can exile target opponent's a permanent target opponent controls with converted mana cost 4 or less. And then additionally, when this creature leaves, our opponent will create a X blue illusion creature token, where X is the converted mana cost of that card that we exiled. But good news is that card's not coming back, my friends. Then we got Relic Robber. So here's a really cool card. I'm happy to see this in this deck. A lot of people forgot about this. It's got haste. It's a Goblin Rogue. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, that player creates a 0/1 colorless Goblin Construct artifact creature token with this creature can't block. And at the beginning of your upkeep, this creature deals 1 damage to you. So very, very hard to get rid of, and very, very fun as a taxing damage 1 ping every turn on your opponent. Then we got Legion Angel, because of course we have to, but this is a creature angel warrior here. It's got flying. When Legion Angel enters the battlefield, you may reveal a card you own from outside the game named Legion Angel and put it into your hand. So we got 3 of these puppies here sitting in the side where we just keep popping these in. It's a great card and super fun that you see a lot of times in the white or aggro, white splash or white something else decks. Then last but not least, we have Embercleave. This artifact legendary equipment has flash. It costs 1 less to cast for each creature we have that's attacking. When it enters the battlefield, we get to attach to target creature with control. That creature gets +1/+1, double strike, and trample. So huge finisher here at the top end. Very well positioned deck, very fast, very explosive, and I'm very excited to play this. Now here's the mana base that we have. Good old pathways here, the modal lands, which I like. Couple things that I would change up. If this was my deck that I was playing, I would look to probably put in a castle, couple castles, either on the mountainside or the plains. The other thing that I like doing once in a while is, again, personal preference here, is I do like putting Crawling Barrens in, 1 or 2. The other things that you can do, probably 1 in this deck because you are running 2 colors. And then the other thing that I like about this too is you can do the Pain lands, the modal lands. You could do the burn one, or you could do the angel one. 1 or 2 of those is very helpful. Again, as the game progresses, this still gives us some options at the top end. If we do get hit for wipes or exiles kind of a thing, we still have a couple ways to play around those. So again, really like this deck. Very explosive. Those are a couple things that you can think about in terms of the mana base there. Then we move into the sideboard here. We have Containment Priest. So this guy's a human cleric. It's got flash. If a non-token creature would enter the battlefield and it wasn't cast, we exile it instead. So where this works really well is against the ultimatum decks. They cast ultimatum, you flash in, that those creatures weren't cast, so they're gonna get exiled instead. So very powerful card. Lots of great places that you can play this. Ultimatum's a great example. Where would I play this? Again, that would primarily be the deck, or any other time that people are playing these in. The Enigma one, Enigma. All right, Enigmatic Incarnation deck. This is one too, so when they're sacking, you can pop this guy in. They're not going to be able to take advantage of that creature hitting the board, so that's another good one you guys can play. Disenchant here, so destroy target artifact or enchantment. This is good against mono white. It's great against mono red. It's great against the Gruul decks, anything running Great Henge. Also holds up really nicely in the late game decks against the Yorion decks like Dooms, any Doom deck, those kinds of things. Then we got Glass Casket. So this enters the battlefield. We get to exile target creature and opponent controls with convert mana cost 3 or less until it leaves the battlefield. So this works well also against other aggro decks or creature-based decks, particularly if you have to get something off the board. If you are running into a Lurrus deck, as you can see, you know, something that you could put here, because we don't have any direct damage and we don't have interaction directly on our opponent's board besides Skyclave, would be something like a Bone Crusher too that you could consider in this. So Glass Casket is going to give us that ability to target our opponents. So again, things like rogue decks, things like Lurrus decks, anything that could change on the board that's going to be important for you to remove, this is going to be a card that you're going to leverage. We got the 3 Legion Angels that I talked about already. Now, one thing you can do that I've done before is you split the difference here and you actually go 2. That gives you another opportunity to double up on pulling some of these additional cards if you need to. Works good against late game decks, works good against mid-range decks as well. The Akroan War here. So this is a super powerful card, works great against creature-based decks. Things like Mono Green Food works great against Gruul Aggro. And what it is it's an enchantment saga. For the first thing there, we gain control of target creature for as long as this remains on the battlefield. 2, until our next turn, creatures our opponents control each attack each combat if able, and then last but not least, each tapped creature will deal damage to itself equal to its power. So a nice little board wiper there at the end. Again, I already talked about some of those decks you could use this on. And then last but not least, we got Ox of Agonis here. So this is a super powerful card. It helps us refill, which is something that you're definitely going to need in this deck. When it enters the battlefield, discard your hand, then draw 3 cards, and then exile 8 other cards from your graveyard for its escape cost for 2. And if we do escape it, it enters with a +1/+1 counter on it. Places that you can play this, you can certainly obviously play it against rogue decks. We're already going to be pretty quick, so reloading our hand is going to be helpful. You may want to run extra cards above the 60 actually, so that's something to consider. And as we look here, we do have a healthy 22 lands, so something to think about there for a low to the ground deck. Other places this one is that I would put in is I would put this in against some of the late game decks, Yorion decks, just to have that ability again to reload our hand. Could be very important. If you are playing Doom, you get this on the board, you can sack this guy and bring him back in, kind of a thing too. So those are all good spots to play and things to think about that could really help you out. So with that said, Planeswalkers, that is the sideboard. Let's talk about how we're going to pull these two together in terms of an aggro, a mid-range, and a late game matchup here. So we'll start with the aggro. Most likely, you may play, again, you might want to play a Disenchant depending on how it's going to take off another Embercleave or a Great Henge. Glass Casket could be something. The Akroan War is probably going to be a really good one for you to bring in here. So let's go three to 5 cards here. What I would move out, honestly, I'd probably drop the Fabled Passage. I'd get it out of here. It's actually going to hurt your deck a little bit. 21's fine to play with this one. So that could be one spot. Then the next thing that I would look to do, depending on what it is that I'm playing, I would consider potentially moving out Kerrigan the Intimidator as 2 there. It's a nice body, and it does give you a couple other abilities to get through, but that's not a bad spot to move out. And then the other one to consider, so that gives us 3, is depending on what you're playing, is potentially a Relic Robber, because if they do have a lot of creatures on the board, they might be holding something up. You're not necessarily potentially going to get the damage through. So that could be a good spot for you, and those are all good choices to move some of those things in. Then we'll take a look at mid-range, and obviously you could always move things up here if you wanted to as well. Then we'll take a look at mid-range. So these are going to be like Selesnya, Adventurous decks, Sultai mid-range. You could consider Gruul Aggro once in a while. It's going to be any of the sack decks that you could run into. Now, again, I see a few of those. Also, the Kroxa or the Rakdos sack or the Rakdos escape version. Those kinds of things there as well that you could hit. Now, you're probably going to have to really matter or pay attention to whether they're creature-based or not, so that's another different approach. So you could consider Ultimatum, you throw in Containment Priest, like I said. Disenchant you may play, depending on how they're playing. You're probably not going to play Glass Casket. You may play Ox or the Akroan War, just depending on how you look at it. If they're not running a lot of creatures, Akroan War is you're not gonna play. Ox is gonna be more so, again, if you're playing something that is more of the mid-range to late game versus the early game to mid-range. So that could be a spot. So we'll do like 2 to 4 here, where I would probably trade up. To be honest, is here you're gonna keep Kerrigan because they might only have one or two creatures, so you can get a lot of things through. I would consider looking at Archpriest as one spot. Again, the Fabled Passage as something. Relic Robber is probably going to do better for you unless they are, again, running creatures. If they are, then that's a good spot for you to kind of swap out. If they're not, I'd probably look at something like an Archpriest and moving this thing a little bit forward. So those are kind of the spots that I would consider. Lots of great things and places for us to move things around otherwise. And with that said, we got one more deck kind of type that we'll look at here with the late game. Most likely you're going to either run Disenchant, you may run Ox of Agonis and potentially a Akroan War. If they're not playing big creatures, that's done. Ox of Agonis again is mainly for the refill, and then Disenchant's going to be to take things off the board that you don't need. So that's 5. What would I move out? Here I would keep Relic Robber. I would keep these guys, absolutely, a little bit more of your quicker kind of paced stuff. You could drop the Fabled. You could even drop Maul of the Skyclaves, to be honest. Maybe 1 or 2 of those, because you might not have to go over the top. So that's something to consider. And let me think what else. You could always split the difference here too. So plenty of spots for us to move things around. What I would make sure not to kind of touch, I always like Skyclave because that's going to give you a good target on late game decks. Seasoned Howlblade is going to help you prevent and keep something on the board unless they got exiled. This allows us to play more cards out of our opponent's deck. So those are some of the stuff that I would make sure to kind of keep together. So that is the aggro, the mid-range, and the late game lineup, my friends. Again, as I already mentioned, if you do got questions, please let me know down below. This is the Boros Aggro Platinum to Mythic 6+ win deck. So we are going to go ahead and check this out now here today for you in some competitive Magic, and I'm looking forward to playing it. So here's what we got going on. There's my good old trusty mono red deck that got me into my MQ. So let's go ahead here. This is what we got going on, the Boros Aggro. Plenty of cool stuff here. We did do the 4-color Incarnation deck. Definitely check that out. That was my new year deck here. Total sweep, well, best of 1 and best of 3, which is pretty sweet. So maybe we can repeat today. We'll see. But we're going to take on the world with the Boros Aggro deck. Now, quickly here, Planeswalkers, as always, a huge thank you. Truly appreciate your support. Looking to try and hit the 10,000 number for subs this year. Please feel free to subscribe down over there. Additionally, like the video if you like it, you learned something new, enjoy the gameplay, or just likes. Additionally, you can like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter and Twitch, stay up to date on daily content like this. I do plan on to start streaming this year. And then additionally, other great ways to support the channel down below. So we go first. We got a great mix here. I really like this, and we are gonna play it. We got a late game deck here with a Yorion, so let's go for it. I love the sleeves. So we got a 1 and a 2. Now the question that we want to think about here is, if we play Hallowed Blade, we can really stack this guy fast. And that's kind of what I'm thinking about doing. Instead of playing Luminarch here off the bat, because we can always discard on that one too. If we can get one more land here, preferably a Plains, we'll be in a really, really nice position. So we'll be able to go with that double up on the Robber the Rich here. And that's going to make this a 3. That's going to make us hit for 6 and 8. So we'll be very, very close to lethal the turn after. But we'll see what our opponent's going to do here. Now, if they hit Seasoned Howlblade, we can discard the Archpriest of Iona, since we already have one on the board. Nice to have 2, but we can deal with it. And I honestly, at this point, there we go. So this is real big for us. So we can go robber. Now I'm going to leave this here. I'm going to attack in. I will need to decide if they hit my Seasoned Hellblade here, if I want to discard Archpriest. So we're good there. So that's going to drop this, which is fine. So we'll do a little less damage, but we'll get this guy on. Now, right now, Skyclave isn't going to do as much for us until we see what they have. So I'm going to keep this one in my hand. In case I need to dump something. So right now I have lethal next turn. But they could very easily exile. They're obviously more on the control side here. But we'll see what they got. They get to 5 though and play one of my favorite exile cards, I will probably cry. So let's see what happens. We're gonna go here. Now, if they exile 2, they're gonna get these 2. They'll keep this. I'm gonna keep this one back still for now. I could keep the lands, which I will do. So even if we would have brought Skyclave in, it would have only given them value. So that's one of the reasons why I'm still sitting on it. Now, this is definitely a control deck, though. So there's no white yet, so it's not a Doom deck. They have to have exile. Dump the plains. There we go. We're good. Look at that. Nice, fast. Probably did more talking than the actual matchup. So moving on up in Platinum Tier 3 right now with our Boros Aggro deck. 1 win right off the bat. Nice matchup against a slower control deck there. So we'll claim that prize and we'll go on to our second match here with our Boros Aggro deck here for our best of 1. All right, Planeswalkers, let's see here. Zach Red, Axe Red, something like that. So we got the 2 again. I'm going to keep this. I don't have a turn 1 though, which could rob me. There we go. We're okay here. I'm going to start with this guy. So I'm actually going to turn 3 into this. I'm considering doubling up the malls there too. Ah, nice. So can't attack unless you control 4 more artifacts. At the beginning of your end step, create a treasure token for each one. I'm gonna debate on this here because I don't know what this deck is actually. I haven't seen this one. So we need to decide. They could very well make some artifacts. Even though we have the 5/3 still. Can slow them down for 1 turn. We're good. Boom. We took their strategy away. So there is a like beanstalk card that creates 3 tokens, which is one or 3 of those foods. That's what I was worried about, but we're good there. Closed out our best of 1 in 2 pretty quick matches. First one was a little bit longer. That one was much closer because we disabled probably one of their key win conditions there. So let's go ahead now and play our best of 3 match, Planeswalkers, and stay on track. There again, there's that 4-color incarnation deck that I was enigmatic incarnation deck that I was talking about, but we're playing the Boros Aggro deck. All right, so super fast best of 1. Let's see how best of 3 goes today, Planeswalkers. Now, as always, again, a huge thank you to you. I truly, Yoda's Flow, I love it. I truly appreciate your support. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel down over there as I try and hit 10,000 this year. Additionally, feel free to like the video if you like it, or if you learned something, enjoy the deck, the gameplay, attack, all that stuff. And also feel free to like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter and Twitch, stay up to date on daily content like this, and other ways to support the channel down below, my friends. So always appreciate the patrons and YouTube members, and lots of great ways for us to interact. All right, so you guys probably figured I was going to keep this one. Absolutely. So, done. Oh, the pain. What? Oh my gosh. I'm going to keep this one. So we'll drop that and we'll drop that. Actually, the better play here, I'm gonna double drop the mountain. we'll see how this goes. Oh well, I guess I shouldn't have for the robber. We got one of these decks, one of the dork decks. All right. Good news is we top deck another mountain. Maybe we just play mono red the whole time. That's what they're gonna think. Looks like a food deck, smells like a food deck. Oh. And the worst part is, we're not going to get the trigger off the robber. Alright, we're not coming back. So it's a food deck. Let's go on the next one. That was, oh, bad way to start and a fast way to lose. Good news is we get to have some fun. So we get to add the Crow War. We also are for sure going to add in the Oxes. And I'm doing this because it's going to be a longer match. This we'll need as well. And Glass Casket is not going to help us. We can get some Mana Dorks, but that's not really going to do much for us. So how quickly do we want to go under is the question. We'll keep these. We'll keep... I don't think Relic Robbers are really going to be fast enough for us here because they got big bodies. I'm thinking we drop this guy. Well, let's drop those two and we'll keep a relic because you could throw them all on it. You can throw them all on it. Maul. Robber we want to keep. Let's drop one Ox. Let's get rid of that Fabled Passage. Alright, I like this. Go from here. There we go. So, let's do it with Yoda's Flow. It's Flow. I like Yoda's Flow. We'll play first. Oh, now we got the opposite problem. This is so bad. Oh my gosh, this is how our best of 3-day goes. That's all right. We won the 2 best of 1s, so I'm cool with that. Let's start playing their deck against them. There we go. We'll take a Mammoth. Question is, do we double it? I think we do. Because we only have to get 1 on there next turn. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's going to be fun. Oh, how do we play this is the question. I think we do this, actually. Wait a turn. There we go. That's what I was hoping for. So here's what we do now. So we do the crumbs. And we do this guy. So we did that so we can pull Wicked Wolf. So now all we need, minus the Great Henge, is a flyer. Well, now they got a goose. Was a flyer. There we go. Oh, yeah, we need the 3. Oh, that one's going to kill me. That one kills me every time. Every time. Oh. This is a really bad matchup for this deck, though, so. That's why they didn't block it, too. Ooh. Do we chump the cleave? Well, whenever it attacks, it can destroy target artifact. I feel like we do. Actually, we pitch Ox. That's what we do. So we attack in, we pitch Ox, we can pull it back anyway. So that's how this gets done. Oh, yes. Oh, shoot. There we go. That's what we need. We need him to block with Kogla, because now he's not going to do that. Then we do this, and we pitch Ox. Ah, there you go. Always have something in hand. Always had something in hand. All right, let's see what we can get. We don't even have enough anyway. All right, we're good. Well, actually, we'll do that. Got that one. We have enough? Nope. Good game. All right. All right, Planeswalkers. We smoked in best of 1. We got smoked in best of 3 today. So bad matchup. Nonetheless, we had bad luck on the land draws for the first match. Second match, kind of similar story. But nonetheless, that is how it goes. Made the one mistake there with the good old beast, because that always happens, you know. Get excited, play the 2. We would have played the wolf over it, but that is how it goes. So Planeswalkers very fast today. It's a quick deck. You guys saw that. Again, struggles without some of that refill. So we did get to see how we boarded the Ox there. So very, very important. We did have a Crow in War. That could have made a huge difference for us if we would have hit that, particularly against a mono green deck. That's a big one. Glass Casket wouldn't have done anything. Disenchant would have, if we could have got over the top. Like I said, there are opportunities to beat that deck with this one, just not the best matchup, but very fun nonetheless. We did great in the best of 1 matches. We beat the control deck and had a nice, interesting match against a Gruul something. I don't quite know what that deck was. Maybe you guys do, but I think it was some form of a food deck with with the good old dragon there. So here's what we have going on. Again, this was a platinum to mythic 6+ win. Lovely Boros Aggro deck, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Very quick. We didn't get to see Relic Robber in action, unfortunately. Everything else we pretty much got to see except for Legion Angel. We did get a cleave there at the end. Unfortunately wasn't enough. The pitch worked, but we forgot to look at not having enough in the graveyard, unfortunately. So super fun matches. I kind of figured the mono green one wouldn't go that way, but that is what it is and how it goes. So Planeswalkers, again, if you got questions or comments, let me know down below. I do have, and I forgot to say this earlier, I do have a Discord server there as well, so you guys can check that out, join us, hang out. Love doing that. And again, last but not least, huge thank you. I truly appreciate your support. Again, please feel free to subscribe to the channel down over there, as I'm trying to work my way towards 10,000 subs this year. And then additionally, like the video if you enjoyed it. You can like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter and Twitch. Stay up to date on daily content like this and other ways to support the channel down below. All right, Planeswalkers, that is all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this fast-paced deck. It certainly was quick, probably one of the faster ones I've done in a while, actually. Generally they're like an hour, so this is, give you 20 minutes back in your day, right? But anyway, Planeswalkers, you take care. I'll see you again soon, and until next time, Mythras out. We got a lot more coming your way. All right.